Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Marty Cast. Hey, how you doing? All right, today on the show today, folks, on the it's called Welcome to the Marty Cast. I know it's not all super professional. I don't have $1,000 microphone and all the rest of the business, nonsense, etc. I do have a nice light distraction in the background there and some weird music I've thrown together myself here on my demo of Fruity Loops. Anyway, anyone can do that, Shenazzaberries. I tells you that for free. Hey, so welcome to the Marty Cast once again. Today on the show, I'm going to be talking to you about some things and some stuff and some things. You wouldn't believe it, I'll tell you that for free. So today on the show, I'm going to be talking to you about Fluorofest. I went to Fluorofest right there in Memorial Park, the Jordan Field, I think it's called. Anyway, so I went there and there was lots of fluorescent, fluoro colours, fluorescent, very high-vis type of shenanigans. Any road worker would have definitely enjoyed the sight. Maybe they could have shown up in their high-vis tux. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens next year, but it was a good show. The harmonic resonators, I think, played twice. I saw them play once, and they covered some of E Papa o Waiari, which is a fantastic song that was also covered by Herbs. Way back when Herbs was doing the things with the Herbs, I'm not sure whether they did anything with garlic or spices, but they certainly did things with herbs. So the Fluorofest was quite good. There was quite a few good stalls. A lot of the local food vendors, Sicilian, Italian place, sausage. I think it was a good sausage company or something. And a few others that were selling some brilliant, tasty kai. Some of the other ones was like the Freeze Factory. The Freeze Factory was there with some of their prints and some of their street wares and music wares, which was fantastic to see. There was also the Tauranga City Council with their virtual reality. I'm not sure what virtual reality. Maybe they've come up with like what Tauranga would be like to drive through if there was no traffic all the time. Which, I mean, as a person who's done plenty of night shifts, I do know what it's like to drive through when there's no traffic, and it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. You all aren't very keen on night shift, I can tell you that much. And that's fine with me. There was Tauranga City Council. There was Toyo Homai as well with their, I think they only do diploma programs at this point. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's very much up to Waikato University, Tauranga branch, to be doing the degrees, etc. In that area. And there was some great times with one of the some of the people from what was it called again? Circus in a Flash, which was quite good, and the guy was juggling bowling batons on a while he was riding a unicycle, which was super cool. He was looking like he was having a great time, so that was good to see. Overall, and there was definitely some good things with the bubbles. The bubbles, oh my gosh, there were bubbles like you wouldn't believe. And of course, I was there making all of the hubba bubba jokes because I'm from the 80s and 90s, and there's always the hubba bubba, big bubbles, no troubles, etc. And there were certainly no troubles, but there were absolutely gigantic bubbles. Obviously people popping them and they just disappear in the air as well, etc., which was super good. It was great to see people having some fun, listening to some good music, and there was some dancers from, I think it was the Mount dance group, one of them. Yeah, and there were a few other organisations. There was Tai Chi demonstration. Lots of good, positive ways to try and stay mentally healthy, which is all what Mental Health Week is all about. And just trying to cope in such an interesting, strange, and potentially sometimes difficult world that we live in these days. And it's really can be quite a challenge, but nonetheless, you can only try, can't you? Hey, that's all we can ever do. We're just going to move this over here a bit more. Alrighty then. So, what else was there going on? Well, earlier this week, I'm just going to put my hand there over whatever. So earlier this week I was busking, not minding my business, because busking really is not minding my business whatsoever. It's actually quite loud, and I've over the years I've definitely called myself several things, one of them being somebody who goes out and annoys people in public, whether that's shopkeepers or whether that's passers-by, or a combination of all of that. Either way, so I was busking on Monganui Road, just by the Central Parade shops, by what do we call it, Post, New Zealand Post, I think it's called, yeah. Anyway, so I was busking outside of there with just on my little lonesome between the dairy and the post shop, and I just managed to be chilling, playing a song called Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. They're a brilliant band, or they were anyway, until some recent happenings on stage with their lead singer and their guitarist. Their lead singer seemed to attack their guitarist, and it was very much not good at all. Both to have those kinds of fights at all, but also to have those fights in public on a stage is really not the one. It's really not the one. But that's just my opinion. It's not nice. I do think band members should try and get along together, and that's the thing is, when you do make music, it's good to try and make the music for the sake of making the music. It's not about making $1 billion, and it's not about trying to feed your own ego as such at all. It's really just about trying to express yourself as an artist and be like, I am here to try and create in a band, with these people, and that's what you should be doing. Anyway, so I was playing a Jane's Addiction song, busking away, and this guy rolls up and he put his hand in his pocket. You never know what is going to happen, These things, they could pull out money, they could pull out a $50 note, they could pull out a knife, which wouldn't be pleasant. This guy pulled out a harmonica and started playing it, and he was jamming with me, and that is probably one of the best things that has happened in recent times. I've had a few people over the years doing different things, whether they start saying, like, who do you think you are? Or they'll go and buy a harmonica and then play it and then expect me to take it off them. And I'm like, I'm not here to put my face on what you've just put your face on. That's kind of gross. Thank you, stranger. But no thank you. I've got a kazoo, so I play with having a kazoo and do all the solos with or whatever I can do with a kazoo. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not like I'm, ungrateful for anyone's attempts of jamming or whatever. I mean, people, they get a vibe and they have a good time, and that's all I can do is try and catch that vibe and just try and adapt and be a good person to try and work with them. That's all I think anyway. I'm no amazing professional or whatever. Just try and Anyway, so he was playing his harmonica, and I think he might have given me 10 cents or whatever. It doesn't matter. He put a smile on my face, and I think that's what's important. That's what's really important, is getting a smile on your face and being able to jam with somebody. Super cool. A few weeks ago, it also reminded me, I was busking at Brookfield Shops, just outside the Foursquare there, which is a nice place to busk. Can be kind of popular for buskers because the buskers know, the shoppers there, the people that come past there are quite generous with what they can give you. I've been given quite a few different notes over the years. None of them handwritten, all of them printed by our government agency that puts good things on the good numbers on the notes. But yeah, nonetheless, so so one guy, he knew some of the Bob Marley songs I was playing. I think it was a Redemption song and a few other songs that I played as well. And so yeah, it was good. He just stood there, had a sing song with me, and while his partner or whoever shopped in the second-hand shop there, and that second-hand shop, well, it's pretty good. It's St. John's. It's a good little second-hand shop. They're now open till 4 p.m. Now, as far as I know, on Saturdays, which is good because I've noticed over the time of busk there, and that shop has been there, is that people will show up at 1:05 and be very disappointed. Because they do want to get in there and they do want to have a shop and they do want to have a look around and buy stuff and all that business. And you do, as a person who's busking and watching the people, people watching, you do see, van loads of stuff come in and get put into the shop, and other people donating to the shop as well. And you also do very much see people making purchases and taking items out of that shop, whether it's candle holders or whether it's other things, it's all very good. But yeah, no, so that was good. It was good little thing to do. I did get some bills sorted out through the money I made this week, which was brilliant. That was, the money I made through busking, that is. So all I know is just I've got to keep on trying, and I've got to keep on doing whatever I can to make ends meet as far as things go, really, at this point. And see what happens from there. I think there's been some sort of potential for me to try and maybe open things up a bit more with what I'm doing with music, whether that is recording songs to put onto various platforms to be listened to or played or viewed. And I think I'll be trying to get on with that as soon as I can, really, and yeah, try and make sure more content, I suppose, is put out there. I mean, I know almost 50 songs basically off the top of my head, so there's no reason why I can't, just do that, and then maybe even I'm not anyone to be tooting my own trumpet, so to speak. Just I think maybe try and open it up and to doing potential guitar lessons or bass guitar lessons, just because it is it's something I've known for a very long time. I grew up playing music, and I know that there's a lot of people who do want to learn instruments, and that's good. And I know there's a lot of people out there already teaching and already trying to get students, etc. But I think, really, when we look at how things are going, you could say, there's market saturation, etc. But what isn't oversaturated these days? There's millions of people with the same licenses as me, or the same qualifications as me, or far better and far more licenses, and that's fine. That's how things go. All I can do is say, please hire me, or whatever it is. Please come to me for guitar lessons or bass guitar lessons, and we can go from there. And that's about that, really. So, what else am I talking about today on the Marty Cast for episode 2? I saw this thing on a YouTube video. It was about the evolution of ghosts, and I just thought to myself, like there's evolution, sure, evolution, for example, different types of apes have learned to use tools, and that's examples of evolution, and other things like that. And people learn to do various ways of changing over many thousands or millions of years, and we've definitely made advances through different things. But this one, the ghost evolution, I think it's more, although I think the person talking about it was talking about quite in a really quite a different way than what I'm kind of going for. He was talking about how ghosts, the idea of ghosts existing is all kind of and how people have people's stories about ghosts have changed over the many years, many decades or millennia or whatever. But it does get me thinking, there must be, therefore, if there's ghost evolution, there must therefore be caveman ghosts. And so I just think, are there cave people, or they're ghosts of cavemen still trying to light fires? Or maybe they died in a fire they tried to light when they were trying to rub some sticks together. I don't know, It could be possible, but I just don't know. These people, they come up with all kinds of stuff all the time on YouTube, and it just makes me think, what's even going on? We've got there's science and it's the evolution sciences, and how that how we as a species have evolved over millennia, millions of years as well, and come from getting from being small people into into what we are these days. And there's definitely, there's so many other things that have, that we seem to miss, I think, as well. And it just makes me wonder, because ghosts, they can float through walls, some of them as well, as far as I know, they can float through walls. But it also makes me think, well, what about other ghosts? Because they can stand on the top of a staircase. So why can't they float through the staircase? Like, what's up with that? And what's what about I mean, do they walk up the stairs, or do they float up the stairs, or do they just like float straight through the staircase and then up? Is that how it works? I don't know. It just makes me wonder about like what's even up with these things these days, But yeah, no, I don't know. You should post your thoughts below in the comments, wherever they are. Yes, you should. The other thing I've considered recently was the idea that maybe trees, because I went up the mount, Amonga. I've been up the mount a few times, obviously, it's right down the street, basically. So I went up there, and on the way down, I was coming down the 4x4 track past the beautiful mural by Mr. G, and I went past there, and then there's another bit where it comes down around the corner, sort of. But then there was all these trees that had, I think it was just wind-blown wood. But they'd been, they definitely had lost a lot of limbs, and it just made me think: what if we made prosthetics for these trees? What if we, instead of we could just make prosthetics for these trees? They could have even robotic prosthetics. They could have, what if trees were able to figure out how to use the robotic limbs through their own commands, and what if they did that, and maybe the trees were able to sort of curl the limbs up a little to sort of make nests for bigger birds like a shag or a black-backed gull, for example. I don't know, I don't know how big the nests are for a black-backed gull, but I know these trees, they could possibly be able to do that. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I've seen stories or news articles of robotics engineers and scientists messing around with fungus and giving fungus entity sort of things, those kinds of things, like putting the fungus into a robot that the fungus can then try and control. And it made me think, like, really, like, that's pretty serious, kind of a scary kind of situation to come up with, really. But yeah, no, it just made me think, like, what is even going on these days? But yeah, but no, I also I saw a story about a guy, Irvin, out in he was a long way from here. He was out in Orlando, I think it was in Florida, and he escaped from his rest home care to an Uber he got, and then he Ubered to the local what was it, the local what do you call those places, aquarium, yeah, and he posed as a tour guide, and he honestly, this guy, very creative soul, but unfortunately he didn't get the job. But no, he took himself there, and he ended up doing a tour with some tourists, and he told the tourists that in the shark part of the aquarium that there was a shark called Brenda, and Brenda had recently been divorced. He also said about how the Penguins were working for the US Navy as a special ops team, which is quite interesting to say the least. I definitely think he's a very creative person, but unfortunately I don't think he got the job, which is quite interesting to see that these people are out there basically able to walk into whatever kind of company and sort of more or less openly fool people into basically shenanigans, you know? So he's out there, he was out there making some silly suggestions. So getting into a few more serious topics rather than my nonsense about, robotic limbs for trees. The PPTA's teachers' strike is going to be happening on the day of NCEA exams, which really, because we have NCEA instead of a sort of formal sit down, put everyone through a standardized test sort of system these days, which frankly I don't think works whatsoever. Instead of that, we've got NCEA, which I think it seems to really work a lot more because there's a lot of better education styles. But anyway, the strike action is starting today. It's 7 days of strike action. Actually, no, it would have been starting yesterday, huh? Yeah. And that's fine. That's just how it goes. The strike action is by the teachers. 21,000 school teachers are set to begin the strike action. And there's a full day of national strike action on the 23rd of October as well. And this is just against the current Luxon regime, which is seeming to not want to fund teachers who are sorely needed, obviously, in our education system. It's not something, anyone who has a weird opinion and wants to blurt a bunch of nonsense can actually do. It's actually something you really have to be very, very trained for, and in return for that training, really, we should seriously be investing much more in that, because as someone who I used to protest with many years ago, he used to always say to me, and say to the rest of the group as well, that children are 100%. They are 100% of our future, and that is actual fact. Not so much just that he said that, but it's actual fact that children are 100% of our future. And that's just how it is, because at the end of the day, once we're gone, who's next? All of them. That's right. That's how it works. So the scheduled strike action does actually start today on the 14th. No teaching for 7 and 9, years 7 and 9. Wednesday the 15th, no teaching for years 8 and 10. Thursday, no teaching for years 11 and 12. Friday the 17th, no teaching for year 13. Thursday, nationwide one-day strike. Thursday the 23rd, nationwide one-day strike. 29th of October, no teaching extracurricular activities. The 5th of November, nationwide strike from 1:15 to 3:15. So I think in that, not just supporting the teachers, but also to try and send a message to the Luxon regime, we should actually have an event here in Tauranga Moana, not just to support the teachers, but also to send a message. As I just said, I think I just repeated myself, and that's fine. I'm pretty good for repeating myself. Anyway, so that's when the dates are, and that's how it goes, really. We should really seek to do better and demand better, not just for our hard-earned taxes that we fork over aimlessly, seemingly, but we also should just in general demand better from our government, regardless of who they are, you know? And that's why one of the things I like to do is vote on policy, you know, and that's just how it is, you know. If there's good policy and good history with those politicians who are bringing good policy, then sweet as, yeah, let's do that. But if it's not a good person who's just trying to line up for, say, the next election, and they've spouted some things that are rather choice in somewhat opinion, if you want to call it that, then we really need to say to them, hey, you know what, we've got other politicians who can support rail and maritime unions, and others who can support the education and health sectors, and we don't need you or your stupid racism. So yeah, be mindful of that when you are voting and following politics, folks, because at the end of the day, we are responsible for our future in this country, with who we vote for and the policies we support. And that's just how that goes, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, what else is going on? I'm going to have a look at some events. There is the Tauranga Night Market that's coming up this Friday, every Friday, the 17th of October, and that is at the racecourse on Cameron Road. They are doing their thing with the night market. There is also, that's on Friday, there is also the Tauranga Diwali Festival. If you haven't seen the Diwali Festival, it's every year at Historic Village. I think this is 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. So yeah, there's some authentic cuisine, international artists, ethnic Diwali markets, and yeah, it's going to be a good time, I'm sure. Coming up later on, there's next month, there's Bites and Beats. It's a food festival. I'm sure it's music and good food. So whatever good food, it might be Taco the Town, I'm not sure. It might be some other fantastic food vendors with their awesome food trailers. There is the opening day coming up on the 15th of November of Toi Tauranga Art Gallery, the art gallery that has been renovated in the CBD. So we gain one of our awesome art gallery venues back. It's not a venue, sorry, it's an art gallery back, which is great. It's been renovated. We get to go and see what is going on there. That is it doesn't say what time. 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday the 15th of November this year, so that'll be super good. There's the pocket-sized play Halloween on the 25th of October. It's a Halloween trail and face painting, so you can get along to that and maybe get your face painted like a skeleton or something else. Who knows? Maybe something else. Maybe flowers on your eyes. I don't know. There's the Tauranga Zine Fest, and that's happening at the Cargo Shed. That's also at on the 25th. That is, sorry. Hey, I'm super good at this. I'm super not good at this. There's also the stand-up open comedy night at Brewco. It's in Mount Maunganui. That's over here at the Mount. Yeah, and then and that's going to be fun. I think I don't know who's going to be doing that. But yeah, no. So there's a few other things going on. Yeah. So what else? Oh gosh. Oh, that's not good. Anyway, sorry, there was some not so good news there to do with pregnant women having to come all the way to Tauranga Hospital to give birth. Hundreds of babe mums facing long trips to give birth, which is terrible and shows a disorganisation within the health sector. We need to sort that out. Need to fund more. Yes, we do. But nonetheless, we will continue. So, just checking out Reddit here with some random nonsense. So, what is your real life superpower? Somebody's asking on random questions, and they are saying their example of their real life superpower is called cat step, where they can walk in without making a sound. I can be barefoot or wearing shoes or work boots and somehow be completely silent. I'm constantly, unintentionally scaring people and hear the phrase, don't sneak up on me like that, which is something I can relate to, because I used to sort of do the same thing. And I used to sort of freak out my mother's ex-partner, who we used to live with for some weird reason, and he didn't like that. I think my mother also, I sort of got a bit of a jump scare from me as well here and there. Anyway, they say they're not trying to be stealthy. They're just saying another weird thing is I'm on the bigger side. He's 5'11" and husky, so I guess people assume I should be stomping around all the time. Anyway, what is your superpower? So what is your superpower, everybody? What is your superpower? Do you manage to, I don't know, do farts and blame it onto other people? I know my superpower is ignoring people's texts or messages that I don't want to talk to, and just not bothering with anything they want out of me, because I don't owe them a second. But here I am also trying to put content out all over the internet as kind of a, bit of this 6767. I don't know. But yeah, no. So we'll have a look at the comments here. I can plug in the USB cord usually on my third try. That's a pretty good superpower, I think. I think that's pretty good. Usually, like that's, yeah. Oh, this person, this is a bit of a hard one. This is a bit of a hard one for a superpower. I can get up and get ready in the morning without the need of coffee. Amazing. That's pretty serious business, that is. Yeah. I have somebody else here is saying they have a super smelling power. It came after the birth of their son. Now they can smell things that no one else can from far away. So even if you're off in the distance and you fart, they can smell you. Or they might be able to. I'm not even sure. But yeah, there we go. Somebody has an insane metabolism. That's really, This person says they can wake up 2 minutes before their alarm goes off every day without fail. This is why I set my alarm set a 10 a.m. alarm on my days off, so I don't get up at my usual work time but can sleep until a later time. I don't know how my brain keeps track of time in my sleep, but it does. That's a bit different, I think. But yeah, no, it's quite interesting. Yeah, let's find some more kooky questions. So I've got an "Am I the asshole?" here. So someone was asking, "Am I the asshole for wanting to eat my own leftovers?" They say it's a minor gripe, but when we go out to eat with her boyfriend, who's 30, he eats a lot more than me, and she's 27. So I usually wind up with the leftovers, and he will not. Later on, when we're home, he considers the leftovers ours and gets annoyed at me if I want to eat them without sharing. So, like, if I want to eat it for lunch the next day, we need to add more things to it to stretch it to feed two, which never tastes as good. Always split up the small portion and eat something else as well. But sometimes, especially when it's one of my favorites, I just want to eat my own leftovers. We split everything 50-50 too, so it's not like he's paying for my food. I know it's such a small complaint in the grand scheme of things, but it bugs me. Sometimes when we get to a good restaurant meal and my boyfriend gets to eat his own meal, and at least a quarter of mine, I can't even fully defend myself on this one because I feel so selfish anytime I try. Since I should want to share it because I love him and all that jazz, but sometimes the girl just wants to eat the full serving of chicken parm, you know. So, is she the arsehole? I don't think she's the arsehole. I think it's quite clear who's in the wrong here. And I just think, you know, that's how it goes. You know, if you're gonna get your leftovers boxed up and taken home, then, you know, that's up to you. And make sure his are separated from your portions that are boxed up, you know. So, you know, he's got his portions of leftovers, if there's any, and yours are all ready to go as well. I think it's easy to make sure, you know, that you can do these things. But yeah, it's certainly not selfish to want to eat your own food. I think that's a little strange. But again, you know, it comes back to my old silly, I guess, somewhat selfish kind of concern, which is really, it just adds to my sort of personal standing of why I don't bother with relationships, you know. And it's not sad that I don't bother with relationships for me. All of them that I've had, either from my own standing or from, you know, the other end, have really not worked. And yeah, I just think, and it's not good, but it is how it is. I mean, I'd like to maybe try someday, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I also kind of look at things and think, well, I don't know. It's easier really to not bother, you know. Some people, I know a lot of people are kind of into, you know, having a relationship, being married, and sort of ticking off all those boxes with life. You know, they you know, they live in the boxes of ticky tacky, and they all go to university and then yeah, and that's how it goes. And that's just that's them. That's okay. Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own little lives, and we all make our own decisions. Right now, for me, is things working for me? Somewhat. I've got the comfort of my cat. I've got some minor attention of followers on social media, whether I'm posting things like this or whether I'm posting images of sunsets or whatever it is. Then there's that minor appreciation and some kind of little minuscule sliver of connection with another person, and that's okay with me. That's kind of enough, really, for me at this point. I'm not really out there trying to gain anyone's favor, or sounds a bit weird. Gain anyone's favor, or be out there trying to get into people's faces. When I busk, I'm just kind of being a sort of a wallflower, just sort of something that kind of complements or tries to complement the surroundings, whether it's outside a major pharmacy, or whether it's outside a dairy, or whatever it is. It's just me trying to do what I do. If people like it, that's cool. If people don't like it, that's okay. I'm not worried. I often get far more compliments than I do complaints when I do busk, and that's fine. Whatever. I just do the do. That's all I know. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. That's been the second episode of the Marty Cast. I am Marty, and you are fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of the Marty Cast. Woo! Y'all have fun now.